Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the one and only Elon Musk.
Ooh, Elon Musk. Always an interesting one.
You can say that again. And we're actually going to be focusing on a specific source today, a Chinese language video about Musk.
Oh, interesting. What's the angle?
Well, it's pretty clear from the start that this video is presenting Musk in a very, shall we say, positive light.
Like a real-life Tony Stark, huh?
Exactly. Very much the hero narrative.
I'm intrigued. So are we diving into this with our usual skeptical goggles on?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I think this deep dive is going to be particularly fun for those who like a little bit of satire with their billionaire profiles.
I like where this is going. So what's the first thing they try to convince us of in this Musk as superhero epic?
Well, they start, like many hero stories do, with the family background.
Ah, yes. Laying the groundwork for that destined for greatness narrative.
Exactly. So we learned that Musk's mother was a model.
A model. Okay, not exactly your average origin story.
And apparently she inherited this adventurous spirit from her father, who was an explorer.
Okay, so we've got the adventurous genes on the maternal side. What about the father?
Well, he was an electrical engineer, one of the only ones in all of South Africa at the time, according to this video.
Ah, I see. Setting the stage for our tech prodigy. But isn't it interesting how this narrative kind of glosses over the fact that Musk's family was also, quite wealthy?
That is a very important point. You're right. It's not to say that diminishes his accomplishments, but it's worth noting. Privilege probably played a role.
Absolutely. It's something this video conveniently leaves out.
Okay, but speaking of things this video is very eager to highlight, there's the classic prodigy story. Apparently, Musk created and sold a video game at the ripe old age of 12.
A video game at 12. Come on, is that really typical prodigy behavior or just a kid with an entrepreneurial spirit? What kind of game was it anyway?
Well, they tell us it was a space-themed game called Blaster. And get this, he sold the code for $500.
$500. Not bad for a 12-year-old. Maybe that explains why dropping out of Stanford after 2 days seemed like a good idea to him.
Yeah, about that. The video claims he left because of the launch of Windows 95, seeing it as the dawn of his era.
Wait, Windows 95? Really? The man who's basically synonymous with cutting-edge technology was inspired by Windows 95.
That's a little ironic, isn't it? I mean, where would Musk be without dial-up? Who knows?
It does highlight how even the most, shall we say, forward-thinking minds are shaped by the times they live in.
Okay, but let's be real for a second. College dropout or not, this is still the guy who went on to co-found PayPal. I mean, his first company, Zip2, got acquired for a pretty hefty sum, too. So clearly he had a knack for this old tech entrepreneur thing.
Oh, absolutely. And the video really plays up the whole PayPal saga, the rivalry with Peter Thiel, the merger.
Yeah, tell me about that. And then there's this dramatic in-flight ousting of Musk as CEO. In-flight ousting, what?
Yeah. Picture this. Musk and his then-girlfriend are on a flight to Australia. Vacation time, right? They've just merged X.com with Confinity, Thiel's company. They're on top of the world.
Right.
And then mid-flight, bam, the news hits. The board voted to replace him as CEO with Peter Thiel.
Wow. Talk about a mood killer. So he basically gets kicked out of his own company while flying over the Pacific Ocean.
That's right. Brutal, isn't it?
It does kind of make you wonder if this whole thing foreshadows, like, some of the turbulence we see in Musk's later ventures.
Well, let's just say this incident kind of set the stage. Brilliant ideas, big ambition, and yeah, sometimes some pretty dramatic power struggles. I think the seeds of the Musk we know today were definitely sown right there on that flight to Australia.
From getting ousted in the air to setting his sights on space, the video really pushes his vision for SpaceX and Tesla, painting a picture of a multiplanetary future powered by sustainable energy. Sounds impressive, but is it really all it's cracked up to be?
That's where I think the satire really comes in. The video kind of skips over the complexities, the potential downsides of these ambitions. Colonizing Mars isn't exactly a walk in the park.
Right, and let's not forget the irony. A guy who made his fortune with electric cars is also a major player in the space tourism industry. Rocket launches aren't exactly known for being environmentally friendly.
Exactly. There's this inherent tension in the Musk narrative. He's a champion of sustainability, but he's also a symbol of excess. He wants to save the planet, but he also wants to escape it.
It's a bit of a head-scratcher, isn't it? Is he a visionary or just a brilliant showman?
Maybe a bit of both. Speaking of showmanship, remember the whole SEY thing with the Tesla model name?
Oh yeah, the S3XY. Cover marketing, but it also plays into this image of him as, like, a playful rebel.
Totally. It's all part of the persona. The video definitely leans into it,
Yeah.
portraying him as charming, quirky, and maybe even a little dangerous.
That image has definitely resonated with a lot of people. Although I think in recent years, Musk's public persona has become a bit more, uh, how do we say, unfiltered.
Interesting is one way to put it.
Twitter has definitely given us a glimpse behind the curtain, and some of what we've seen is maybe less Tony Stark.
Definitely makes you question how much of what we see is genuine and how much is calculated showmanship.
Well, one thing's for sure. The man is full of surprises.
Yeah.
And speaking of surprises, the video also touches on Musk's belief that we might be living in a simulation.
Okay, now we're getting into the really good stuff.
Yeah, that's a rabbit hole we'll have to dive into.
Yeah.
But I think first, we need to talk about Musk's grand plan to colonize Mars. After all, if we were just characters in a video game, his role is far from over.
Oh, for sure. That's a whole other level of simulation theory.
Exactly. So stay tuned for that.
It's funny, the way they present this whole Mars thing in the video is almost comical.
Comical. How so?
Well, they make it sound like this noble mission, like a last-ditch effort to save humanity from a dying Earth.
Right. Very us against the universe.
Exactly. But they kind of, conveniently forget to mention all those pesky little earthly problems we're dealing with.
Like what? Poverty, climate change, war, famine.
All of the above. It's as if, by focusing on Mars, all those problems just magically disappear.
Yeah, it's a pretty seductive narrative, I'll give him that. But I'm not sure I'm buying it.
And that's what makes the satire so good, right? They're accidentally revealing the absurdity of it all, like pinning all our hopes on one guy, even one as ambitious as Elon Musk, isn't really a solution.
So instead of tackling those very real, very complex issues, we should just pack our bags and head to Mars. Sign me up.
Right. But seriously, who gets to go? Is there like a lottery system? First-class tickets for the ultra-wealthy? What about everyone else?
Yeah, the video conveniently skips over those little details. It's all about the romanticized ideal.
Yeah.
Musk as the benevolent leader guiding us to a brighter future on a red planet.
Compelling, but not very convincing, if you ask me.
Okay, but let's play this out. Let's say, hypothetically, Musk pulls it off. Humans on Mars, a self-sustaining colony, the whole 9 yards. What happens next?
Does he declare himself Emperor Elon of Mars?
Emperor Elon, I can see it now.
It kind of speaks to a broader trend we see, not just with Musk, but other tech billionaires too. This idea that they hold the keys to the future, that they can reshape society in their image.
Silicon Valley feudalism.
Exactly. The tech elite become the new aristocracy. The rest of us are just digital peasants tilling the Martian soil.
Not exactly the utopia I had in mind.
And that's where the satire really shines. It makes us question these grand narratives, these simple solutions to complex problems. They've accidentally highlighted how ridiculous it is to put so much faith in one person.
So the question is, are we going to let these billionaires decide the future of humanity? Or are we going to demand a more inclusive, more realistic approach?
That's a discussion for another time, perhaps. But speaking of mind-bending ideas, can we circle back to that simulation theory? It's too good to ignore.
Oh yeah, let's dive back into that rabbit hole. I mean, if we're just characters in a video game, maybe none of this even matters.
Hold on, let's not give up on reality just yet. But if we entertain the simulation theory, even just for a minute, it does add another layer to this whole Musk thing, doesn't it?
Like, what are his motivations then? Is he aware he's in a simulation? Or is he just going through the motions?
Whoa, now we're really getting into science fiction territory.
That it's a fun thought experiment, right? If this is a simulation, who are the programmers? And what happens when we reach the end of the game?
You know what? My brain is officially fried. I need a break from the existential dread. Can we talk about something a little more, tangible?
Tangible. Like the fact that Musk literally named his Tesla models to spell out SEXY.
Right. Like, is that some kind of, coded message to the programmers?
Maybe he just has a weird sense of humor.
True. But even if it's just a joke, it's a pretty clever one. It reminds us that even when we're talking about serious stuff, like technology and the future, it's okay to have a little fun.
Absolutely. Life, even in a potential simulation, shouldn't be taken too seriously.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the main takeaways from this deep dive.
Yeah, amidst all the grand plans and mind-blowing theories, let's not forget to take a step back, Appreciate the absurdity of it all. Have a laugh.
Because at the end of the day, simulated or not, the journey is just as important as the destination. And maybe, just maybe, by embracing the absurdity, by questioning things, we can create a better future.
Well said. But before we get too philosophical, let's remember what started all this. We're here to analyze this video that portrays Elon Musk as some kind of superhero. What are your final thoughts on that?
I think it's a fascinating example of how easily we can fall for certain narratives, especially when they tap into our hopes and fears. The video presents Musk as the answer, as this beacon of hope in a world that feels pretty chaotic. And while he's undoubtedly a smart and innovative guy, it's important to remember he's also just a human being, with flaws and biases and agendas.
So next time you see a headline about Elon Musk, whether it's praising him or criticizing him, remember to take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly. The truth, as always, is somewhere in between.
So we've really gone deep on Elon Musk, the man, the myth, the meme, but we're here because of this video, right?
Yeah.
This video that presents him as, well, a superhero, basically. What do you make of that, after all we've talked about?
You know, it's a classic example of the great man theory of history. This idea that progress is driven by these exceptional individuals, these larger-than-life figures.
Yeah, they want us to believe that Musk is single-handedly saving the world, launching rockets, building electric cars. Is it really that simple?
Definitely not. History is way more complicated. It's social movements, economic forces, tons of people. It's not just one guy, no matter how brilliant.
It's funny, though, right, that great man narrative almost ties into the simulation theory.
Totally. It's like, if Musk's a character in a video game, then yeah, his actions would seem huge, almost destined.
It all gets so blurry. What's real? What's made up? What's just, like, plain absurd?
That's the world of Elon Musk for you. And that's why it's important to be skeptical. Question the motives, the symbolism. Don't just take things at face value.
Especially when the source might have their own agenda. Like, who made this video? Why? What were they trying to do?
Good questions. I think the answers say a lot about the creators, maybe even more than about Musk himself. We all have our own narrative, our own ways of seeing things, and sometimes they clash.
History is written by the victors. But nowadays, everyone has a voice. Everyone can add to the story.
Right. It's a good thing, even if it means more noise to filter through.
So we have to sift through it, question, challenge what we think we know. That's how we understand things better.
Totally. And that's what we've tried to do today, right? Dive into this video, unpack its message, and have a little fun along the way.
Exactly. So if you're going to take away one thing from this whole deep dive, let it be this. Don't believe everything you see, especially when it comes to people like Elon Musk.
Do your own research. Think critically. Come to your own conclusions.
The truth is out there, but you have to be willing to look for it.
And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder all the big questions, the mysteries of the universe, the nature of reality, and of course, the ever-evolving saga of Elon Musk.
Until next time, everyone, keep questioning, keep exploring, keep diving deep.